Alright guys, welcome back to the studentcast. Man's back here doing a one of my first live podcasts because I can touch you.
I thought it was your first.
It's not. I did one. Michaela was the first one that I did in
Shit.
person because we live together, but that's
Oh, okay.
Different.
Okay.
so.
Yeah.
I'm here with Tewoderos.
Jesus.
Or Tortoise.
Tewoderos. Madhane, Alem.
Yeah. Why are you so ashamed of your name?
I'm nice. Like, for like most of my life, I've always been called Theodore, but I've always known my name is Tewoderos.
Yep.
But no one really calls me that. So it's only really since like sixth form in uni I've been a bit like, my name's Tewoderos. Do you get me?
Yeah.
But it's still awkward.
That's
to
not
like...
what you introduced yourself as to me, but you're not following your same logic.
It's kind of, it's not awkward. It's just a bit like, oh shit. Like,
It's annoying.
That's my name. Like,
yeah, it's annoying having people always like ask. Oh wait, how'd you say that? How do you say that?
that's why like Theo kind of just works out. Do you get me? The way it does. Do you get
Can't
me?
be bothered. It's easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Ultimately. But
So-
yeah, I need to start telling people my actual name.
Yep.
Yeah. Even on like fucking, for certain like when you like sign up for shit, it's like put Theodore instead of Tewoderos.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
You got so much. I did that for a while when putting Vlad for everything, and then I randomly put it. I was like, "Fuck! Wait, on actual documents, I have to put my full name. I can't be putting."
And then in airports they call you by your full name. It's a bit like,
Wait, is that? Yeah.
yeah.
I've had some weird iterations of my name. The funniest is the F's. Vlad.
Oh my. Thing is, Vlad is common. It's common-ish though. It's common enough.
Vlad. F-L-A-D.
No, I'm saying Vlad is common enough though.
Yeah.
Surely, like.
It's a very common name. It's the easiest name. You can't misspell it. It's so simple.
Crazy.
I remember when I moved here and I officially decided, like, I remember coming in and sitting in my like form, and I was like, I don't know anyone. This is a new school. I just like
You saw my sixth form.
what? No. Like
What,
secondary
uni?
school.
Oh, secondary school. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
when I first moved to the country, and my form tutors were like, "Oh, why don't you stand up and introduce yourself to everyone?"
Oh my
and
god.
I thought he was really joking
Yeah.
because I was stood up to do it,
Mhm.
and I said, "Oh, yeah, my name's Vlad. I'm from Ireland. I just moved here."
Yeah.
And he
Where'd you
was
say you're from?
like, "What do you mean?"
Where'd you say you're from? Like, if someone's asked you,
Oh, where
like,
you from?
We-
I usually respond with, "How much time do you have?" Or I just say I'm European because I've just lived everywhere. I have multiple passports from countries.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense, but
That's mad.
yeah.
That's mad.
Do you know what's really annoying is one of my placements, I'm not going to say which one, but apparently I might not be able to get it because I don't have a British citizenship.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's because you can't do it.
Which, you lived in the Republic of Ireland, didn't it?
Of course, Northern Ireland isn't Ireland.
It is.
No, it's not.
It is Ireland.
No, it's not.
Why? Go on.
It's just disgusting.
Jesus. Jeez.
It's just not a real nation, to be honest. They just need to...
Doesn't exist.
With the whole COVID thing, they actually wanted to join the Republic of Ireland as one unity because they were hating how the UK government was.
And because of Brexit.
Yeah,
Because of
they
Brexit
just
as well.
didn't like that whole thing, and they were like, technically, we can still come back. There was like the clause in whatever
Yeah, the
treaty.
Good Friday Agreement.
Yeah, they can come back and join the Republic,
Yeah.
which would be beautiful. There would be one whole nation.
But I wonder how that would work in terms of like the United Kingdom though.
Then it would just not be Northern Ireland. It would be England, Scotland, and Wales, and then Scotland's obviously going to
That's mad.
do their own thing, and then
But things, I feel like that's mad because I feel like we're essentially somewhat in the midst of witnessing potentially the breakup of the union. Do you get me? Obviously, you got Scotland doing its thing, innit?
yep.
I was watching a video on YouTube talking about how Welsh independence has like soared over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Not years, but the last like couple months, sorry, because
Yeah.
of coronavirus coupled with Brexit as well.
Is it on TLDR?
TLD, that's
Yes!
fam.
Shout out to TLDR. That's where I get all my news from.
Literally, like
they just hit you with the facts.
Do you know what I mean? They do their best to like give both sides of like the
argument.
Yeah, the argument, the debate, whatever. And they're sick. But the animations are hard. Like
Yeah.
I like how they have like the person in the color or whatever. Like let's say it's Labour, they'd be red.
Yeah.
It's kind of they add like the hair.
Yeah.
They
for
look at the
leader.
person. That's crazy.
They do a really good job, and they have like all of their channels for different. So
yeah,
you
they
get
have
the US
EU,
one.
US.
EU.
Yeah. It's mad, honestly, and they have the world one as well.
Yeah,
It's mad, honestly.
by far the best news channel.
Honestly, I generally do go there before I go to a BBC or.
Yeah, the
Jeez.
ever. I don't really. I use Apple News for like just general reading of like loads and loads of articles. If I'm just trying to look through stuff, like a lot of quantity, to see what's going on, then I'll do that. But I barely do that anyway. And then if I see something on TLDR, especially when it was like the elections and the general election, when they had they basically made a whole video on each party's
their manifesto and their
Yep.
promises and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched
that's
that.
what I'm saying. Like, granted, every news site does do that, but like, I don't know.
They just do a good, concise job of it.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like, again, like because of the era we're in, like the internet and all that kind of stuff, like the readily available, like access to information and shit. News sites are becoming a lot more opinionated, a lot more than they were before. So a BBC News, which is supposed to be neutral, is a bit more opinionated than it would be necessarily. Do you get me?
Yeah, BBC News is clearly
Even
left
Channel
wing.
4. Yeah.
It's very clearly left wing.
Channel 4, do you get me? Like, there's like a somewhat of a narrative, do you get me? And that's difficult, do you get me? Because your job is to disseminate information.
Yep.
Your job isn't to
relay your opinion.
Relay your opinion, do you get me?
Yeah, no, I agree, but you know, what are you gonna do? That's kind
That's
of.
not, but I feel that's the internet.
Sorry about that. There was a lot of background noise going on. Someone was screaming for no reason, and in your comm, so.
Uni life,
Yeah, I mean.
It's part of the license agreement, isn't it?
Yep.
Random dons are screaming.
Yep.
3 o'clock in the morning.
I don't miss that part of living in halls. Do you regret coming to halls then, or?
Nah. Moving out for me is always kind of been like sick because I have like my own room essentially.
Yeah.
I'd have my own room at home. Do you get me?
Yeah.
That's like the thing that I'm sick about, and like the independence and all that kind of stuff. Like, you can do what you want whenever you want. You're kind of running on your own time. Do you get me?
Yeah, but
like that is invaluable.
You also could have moved in with someone outside of uni.
Yes and no. Like,
I guess because it's your third year, right? You're not gonna be. You don't really sign a full 12-month contract for a place when you're only gonna live here for what 8 months, 9 months, at most. So there's that mix up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have like an overlap when I start placement probably where I have one place. I've got 2 places and I'm gonna only live in one.
Is your placement gonna be in Uxbridge or like in the
No
local
idea.
area?
I have no idea. I am open to moving anywhere in the UK at all. I'll happily move to fucking the most northern part of Scotland if it's a good enough placement.
Serious?
Yeah,
Shit.
happily. Usually the ones that are further away from London pay more as well.
Yeah.
Because they have that incentive of bringing, like, if you're close to London, you get that bonus. That's kind of your positive. Whereas when you're living in the middle of nowhere, on your own,
I get you.
yeah, it's not as much fun. But you know,
That's mad. Like, for me, that wouldn't even be a consideration. Like, it'd have to be London or like Slough or like the local area.
no,
Like,
I'm going anywhere where. But you have to remember, right? Because I'm doing engineering, and when you want to do this kind of like research stuff, say you're Rolls Royce and you're designing an engine for an airplane, the next engine, right? The tests that you have to do. So you have to do like a bird test. So you simulate with the exact engine, you put it in a hangar, and you throw like a model bird into the engine to make sure it can handle.
Yeah.
So if the plane does hit a bird, it doesn't just fucking explode. That it just chops through and carries on working, even if it takes out a fin. You have to think. Imagine you have like a
That's
a 737
Yeah.
in a hangar, or just a 737 engine. You can't fit that kind of equipment anywhere in London. You need huge, like massive hangars of space
Yeah.
to run that kind of stuff.
And you're
so,
gonna get that in like the countryside,
Yeah.
essentially.
basically.
Like, country.
So you have to kind of fuck off away from London as much as you can. There
Yeah.
are some that are close. Like close, I say it's like Reading is the closest one, really.
Yeah.
That's considered close. It's still on the same tube lines. Yeah. So you're just gonna have to farm it.
I get it.
But I'd love to do any of that stuff. Depends where it is. I mean, I don't mind as long as the job's decent.
Mhm.
But
I hear you.
we'll see what COVID lets us on.
I get you fully. What's interesting to me what you just said, sorry, it's kind of like how you said like they put birds and model birds and model planes, kind of see like what their reaction would be and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like I hear all of that, but I'm still scared of flying
Why?
because
it is safer than
I
driving.
hear the whole like it's the safest form of travel.
What are you gonna hit in the sky? In the sky, what is there to hit?
No,
Nothing.
but like, I've seen too many films, like snakes in the plane, all this kind of stuff. It's kind of like something happens in tutus, the plane's going down. Do you get me?
Alright.
It's kind of like. Do you get me?
So what are you gonna do when a drunk? What if you're driving and a drunk driver just hits you head on full pelt?
But then there's some control-ish you can have in that though.
Not really. If you can't see it, if someone comes in side on, like outside your peripherals, you can't see anything. You just get hit door side.
True, that's very true.
What are you gonna do?
Your chance of survival though is kind of higher than if the plane goes down. Plane goes down. Do you get me? Like.
Well, not really. It depends where the plane goes down. A plane has to be designed to do 1-1. So that means where for every meter or 100 meters that it drops in the sky, it has to be able to travel another 100 meters.
Okay.
So most planes can do even further. So for every meter it drops, it can travel like 200 meters.
Yeah.
So if you imagine like 1,500 feet, you can travel at least 1,500 feet
to get at the nearest runway or whatever.
Yep, and you can land the plane with no engines just because of.
Yeah, I've seen a couple videos. Have you seen those videos? It's kind of like pilot describes like movie scenes, whatever. Kind of sees like how realistic the actual scene was in the film, like in terms of real life and stuff. I've seen those. Thing is, it's kind of like I've seen all of those, but it's still like
Have you ever
takeoff.
flown?
I've flown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What are you scared of?
the takeoff and landing.
Yeah.
Landing not so much actually, like but it's just takeoff. Takeoff, I just think
What is it?
like
The turbulence that gets you.
not just that. It's kind of like coming off the runway and going into there. That's why I'm a bit like, oh shit, like all I hear is boom, and then just fucking the whole shit's fucking.
But no, it doesn't happen. Like it rarely happens.
And the thing is, it is the safest form of transport, but isn't that because obviously there's less planes than like cars and shit out there?
No, it's just because there's less stuff for it to happen. It's more controlled.
But then there's
It's
less.
air. There's just air and clouds. That's it. That's all that can cause damage. Even if all the engines fail, even if they're on fire, the plane can cope with that kind of stuff where a car can't. Like your car sets on fire, you just have to pull over and hope for the best, right? A plane sets on fire, there are safety measures that are
100%,
put in place.
Yeah, planes can land even if like one of the engines goes out or some
If
shit.
all of the engines go out,
Yeah.
the plane can land. It's designed in a way where no matter what, there's like safety precautions on top of safety precautions just because of that.
Yeah,
So
but like, fear is irrational. It doesn't make sense, and it's not going to make sense.
I disagree with that. Fear is rational.
It can be rational.
Being afraid that you're gonna die from a plane is rational.
Most
Fear of spiders is not.
most fears are irrational though. If you think,
Depends on the fear. If you're standing like, I'm not like afraid of heights, but when I watch those videos of like people, those Russian people that are like skateboarding on like a 1 foot wide girder with no harness,
yeah, they don't know how. They don't know the
with just a
value of life,
GoPro taped to their head. There's a guy in my school who does that.
Yeah.
Who literally does that. That's his job, right?
Mad. Yeah.
He's shown me shit, and I'm like, my hands get so sweaty so quickly.
Yeah,
I don't think that's an irrational fear. I think fear of like falling down and literally dying he's completely rational in that situation.
Or it is irrational because your body's having a reaction to something that it's not experiencing. That is irrational.
True. I guess that's true, but
Me being scared of not even scared. I just get a bit like I don't talk. Do you get me?
you can't have a relaxed conversation. If I fly with you, I'm just like, yo, Theo, do you want some coke? Fuck off. Piss off.
Thing is, once we're in the air and like you take the seatbelts and you sit the seatbelts and stuff, and the TV goes on and stuff, that's when it's calm. The takeoff, like I just don't talk. Like
when it feels like you're just going flat, like driving, and you can't see anything, then you're okay. But as soon as you feel like you're flying, then you're scared.
But yeah, like most I would say like definitely most fears are like irrational because a lot of things that like people feel scared of, like it's shit that like doesn't actually like it's not real. There's no basis in reality for it. Do you get me? Like being scared of crazy social interactions, like it's irrational because it over exaggerates what's going to happen. Do you get me? Like it's not an accurate representation of what was going to happen if you do this or if you do that. Do you get me? It's very exaggerated. Do you get me? But yeah, shit's dangerous.
It's not dangerous. It's completely safe. I feel more comfortable on an airplane than I do with most people driving.
That's fair. That's true. Yeah, there's definitely a certain groups of people when they drive. It's a bit.
And I think the type of training that pilots get is a bit more rigorous than the type of training you need.
The driver, and the driver as well.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
I mean, you can't drive, I swear.
Nah.
Why?
I'm working on it.
You know, I had this like thought that I think everyone who goes on the road, more or less, like cyclists, need to do the driving theory test.
Oh fuck off.
Yes, no. I'm sorry, but cyclists don't know what's going on the road. Like I remember driving, and there was a cyclist in front of me, and I have to slow down, obviously.
Yeah.
Because can't go around the cyclist, but he's cycling on the road, right? And right next to him is a path. Like on the path is a designated cycling area, so you're out of the way.
Yeah.
And he didn't use it. I'm just looking at him. I'm just like, fuck off, go over there. Like it's made for you.
I get you. I can't lie to you. I can't sit here and be like, I've not been one of those kind of guys. Like I used to cycle to my sixth form, and obviously like it was like 10 minutes, 5 minute cycle, whatever. But like let's be like, essentially roads. I used to just go on the roads. I remember one time I was holding up traffic, just going up a hill. Do you get me? But yeah,
some cyclists are good where they see that they're holding up traffic, they'll literally get off the bike, stand on the side, and let the traffic go because they see they're fucking ruining everyone else's day.
Nah. I remember one morning I had like a very unhealthy line of cars behind me, just waiting for me to pedal. I can't, and then there's a pavement area right next to it. I could have just gone on. Do you get me? But
and why didn't you? You think you're better than everyone else? They're in the metal box that can kill you. And then you need to move out of the way.
Yeah, like...
No, the most frustrating thing is those, like, old men on a Sunday morning who love to cycle in groups. So they hold up the whole road, and you physically can't get around.
Yeah, you can't get around. You have to kind of just go at their speed.
It's like 10 cyclists, and they're going, like, 10 miles an hour up this hill.
Yeah.
And they can't go any faster because their poor little legs couldn't afford to buy a car.
So then, the thing is, like... There's no way around that, really. Because cyclists are told you can't go on the pavement. But then, do you have more cycle lanes?
Yes.
See...
How about you just don't cycle and you cycle in a park?
No, that doesn't make sense. What if you need to go somewhere? What if you need to go to work, go to school, go to college, wherever? You cycle there.
You walk. If you can cycle somewhere, you can walk somewhere. Fact.
You can cycle somewhere, you can walk somewhere. I mean, yeah and no. Cycling cuts time in half. Easy.
Alright, but a lot of the time, if you cycle somewhere, you're going to end up sweaty. So, probably preferable to walk anyway. You're going to save yourself a first impression.
Sure.
Like, think about the guy that cycles to work every day, right?
Yeah.
And it's like really humid, and he's wearing his like cycling gear. He
Mm.
clearly can't have a shower before he starts work, so he's staying at work all day in that sweat that he's built up, right? Do you want that to sit next to that person at work?
No, I don't.
Exactly. Then tell him to piss off and get a car.
I don't know. The thing is though, like, it's shit. Like, it's, I obviously like what the disruption they cause on the road and stuff. But like, when you look at like pictures and videos of like Amsterdam and shit, you see like all this. I don't know. It just looks nice. Like, it just looks a lot more like visually appealing than fucking traffic. Like,
Okay.
the amount of people just in cars and shit. Like, I don't know. Like, I
It's-
feel like that's
it's
what
true,
someone.
but
I feel
it's
like to an
also
extent.
Amsterdam was made for that kind of.
Was it?
Traffic. Well, not really, but it lends to that kind of stuff. Their roads are narrow. They don't have many, like through the center. They don't have many areas where you can drive with a car anyway. So it
I
only.
haven't
Makes,
actually been to Amsterdam. So
neither have I, but I've seen
just
Amsterdam.
Okay.
And it's just easier to get around with a bike. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But in London, especially, but you have to remember how big London is. It's so fucking wide. It's huge.
Yeah.
So you just can't get about. I guess in central London you can get about easily.
Yeah. Obviously, and obviously there's less cars that run in. Yeah, there's less. Would you say there's less cars in central?
No, depends what you consider central.
It's true.
If you're around Soho area, yeah, there's way less cars. If
Yeah, that's nice.
if
Certain
you're-
areas like.
if you're around Oxford Street, Piccadilly Circus,
Yeah, 100%.
it's traffic all day.
Yeah. True.
what happened to the Oxford Street making it one like big path? Do you remember that? We were talking about that. I think that was another promise of Boris's.
Oh,
was
as a mayor.
yeah, he was like, oh yeah, we're gonna make Oxford Street
He had
pedestrian only.
He had a couple of wild promises that just never kind of like came to fruition. Do you get me?
No, he gave us bicycles. That you
Yeah,
could
the
rent,
Boris bikes, yeah.
they could rent.
Yeah. So sort of like a good like good like thing in it. Like, because even in like Slough, like they have. It's not Boris bikes, but it's like another company. They like rent out bikes, and you can obviously.
It used to be Barclays,
use
and
one.
now they're all like Santander.
Yeah.
That's I've noticed that there isn't Barclays ones anymore. Because they were blue. I remember renting them myself, and then now they're all
Yeah.
Santander, and they cost fucking 2 kidneys to rent.
Yeah, that's the ones that are on Union shit, isn't it?
They're such a rip off. What is it like? A
I've only
pound for
used
a half
them-
an hour, or a pound?
I've only used them twice or 3 times.
There's something like that. It's like a pound for half an hour.
Mm.
What do you mean a pound for half an
I
hour?
can't lie. Those bikes, even still, they're better than the fucking scooters you see like people riding around these days.
Oh,
Those scooters are wet.
the electric scooter.
Those scooters are fucking wet. They're so wet.
I've talked about this before, but it was like
The thing is,
the hardest man is gonna roll up to you on a scooter.
it's wet, but like
You know when as soon as you get on it, you're gonna want one.
that's the thing. That's the thing. It's wet, but like I wouldn't say no. If someone gave it to me. Do you get me? Like
It's gonna be hella convenient.
trust me. That's the thing. Like I can just imagine going from like halls to like obviously pre-corona like lecture center and
Yeah.
like high street or whatever.
But then you have to remember, right? This is the funny part about those scooters is it looks like a great idea, riding the scooter to your location. Then you have to remember you have to put it somewhere when you get there. So I remember sitting in library
Yeah.
and I see these dons like
It's
pushing their scooter around the library, like
Oh my
because
god.
they have nowhere to park it.
Yeah.
Or if you take it to lecture center, well, you're gonna take your scooter up the stairs into the lecture.
Yeah. I haven't. Shit. I don't.
If you haven't thought it through, but I have wanted an electric skateboard.
Electric
a while.
skate. Can
It's
you
so
like
much
ride
easier.
like a regular skateboard?
Yeah, if you want, but obviously it has motorized wheels, so you just have a
No,
remote.
but can you like ride can you skate a skateboard? Like,
Can I physically skate? Yeah.
You can skate.
Yeah.
Shit.
I've skated for time. I used to skate like downhill on cobblestone to work back in the day, and I had a massive fall, but I was fine.
Yeah.
I just got up and carried on. But yeah, I used to skate to work every day.
I feel like kids like they either have like it's either bikes or skates. It's either one of the two.
I had
Like
a bike, roller skates, and a skateboard. I mean,
Shit.
not all at the same time. Started off on roller skates, and used to roller skate everywhere.
Yeah.
Also lends to me being able to ice skate now pretty well.
You can ice skate as well. Jesus.
It's the same. It's the exact same thing. So if you can roller skate, you can ice skate.
I've lived next to like like a skating ring for like literally my whole life. I've never been there.
Why? It's so much fun.
I don't know. It's never really been like a thing like I've wanted to do, because it's kind of like, I'm gonna go there and bust my ass. Like,
Yeah,
I'm volunteering to come home hurt.
okay, but it's growing pains. You have to learn. But yeah, I used to roller skate all the time, and then I grew out of my roller skates, so I couldn't wear them anymore. And then I got a bike, and then I would cycle every day as a child to and from school.
What would you say is easier to learn? Because you've been through like roller skate, skateboard, bicycle.
Yeah.
I can't really ride a bike. Which one would you say is easiest to learn?
Bike's the easiest by far, but I guess you're probably more curious about the other two.
Yeah. How long did it take you to learn to ride a bike? So I was having this conversation.
About 2 hours.
Fuck off.
100%. I could only ride in circles though.
Nah. Because this can't just be me. Because it took me like a couple of weeks, if not a couple of months, to like properly like. Nah.
I remember the day.
Stabilizers off. Like took me a while.
Yeah, I remember when my parents took my stabilizers off my bike, and I could just cycle in a left circle. But then within like 2 hours, I could figure out how to straighten it.
2 hours, bro. That's bollocks.
100%.
Literally, I remember like going to the park, having to like ride in a straight line, falling off, trying the next day or the next weekend.
You know, I never fell off my bike on two wheels. But other than when I've like crashed in, other stuff later on when I was being an idiot. But like normally riding and just falling, I never fell off my bike as a child like that. I could just always cycle.
Honestly, it took me a
How
little
old
while.
were you when you... I think that's more... How old were you when you learned how to ride?
Maybe like 10, 11.
Jesus Christ, you were fucking old. I was 5.
Oh my days! But I just like where my house is. It's kind of like a somewhat of like a circle, like somewhat of a semicircle with like all the cars and shit, like how they're positioned and shit in it. Like, so I'd cycle around that area, like not months, like weeks, like weekends. I'd be going around for hours. You know, just learning how to like stay on the bike and turn and kind of like, do you get me? All that kind of shit. It was a while before like I was cycling around like Slough and shit. Do you get me?
No, I remember the day. That same day I was riding cycles. I remember being like, oh, I can go straight, and then I went straight down like the whole road, and I was like, oh, going to my like little friends' houses and stuff, and I wouldn't get off my bike after that. I just cycled everywhere.
That's mad.
How were you 10? 10 years old?
That's mad. The thing is, like...
10 years old, I was trying to do wheelies.
Nah. I'm trying to do that now.
I can't do it now. I can get it up for a little bit, but not for any amount of time. I'm sure if I practiced enough, I could get it.
I can get a little bit of rhythm going with the front wheel, do you get me? But I can't bust a wheel, you know. My cousin does that shit, like, properly. Like, he goes, like, London and stuff, like, properly. Like, does all of that kind of stuff. Like, that's not me. I can't lie.
Yeah,
that's not me.
I can...
You need, like, a certain bike as well. Like, you need, like, a certain bike to be able to kind of pull those kind of stuff
Not
off,
really. If you can do it, you can do it. It's not about the bike.
Nah, it's out of the suspension on the bike and stuff. And, like, my bike hasn't got a lot of, like...
Nope.
Suspension like that.
If you can pop a wheelie on a bike, it'll take you a little like bit to adjust, like with everything. Yeah. It'll take you a second to get the weight and that kind of stuff, but within like 15 minutes you can do it easily. I know people that do wheelies all the time. They can do it on any bike. It doesn't make a difference. Stop trying to tell yourself that to make yourself feel better. I don't have a good enough bike, so I can't.
That's been my thing for years. It's my bike. So obviously, it's a mountain bike and that, you know, it's only made for wheelies.
No, it means nothing. I mean, the funniest is when I used to skate everywhere, and then random people love to ask, "Oh, can I try your skateboard?" I'm like, "Sure," and you give it to them, and it's hilarious because people aren't used to like a platform with moving wheels that's really smooth.
Yeah.
And adjusting to be able to stay on it and push off of it is pretty funny to watch.
Nah. Skateboards are cool though, I can't lie. Even now, like, skateboards are cool. Still.
Yeah, they 100% are. They've always been cool, but it's a really really hard skill to learn. It's not easy. I can't do like any tricks on a skateboard. That's
seeing like people bust like I didn't know what they call like 360s, all that kind of shit on skateboards and that is mad. Like
yeah, it's
like the skill you need to do all that kind of stuff is crazy. Like,
it's so much like muscle memory that you have to like ingrain in you. That is it's hard. And you have to be willing to fall and hurt yourself a lot because it just comes as part of it.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you can't skateboard without getting hurt. It's such a normal thing, but I was skating on campus for a while, and then I just got busy and don't have the time to do it really.
Yeah.
And I lost it, but you know, I can still ride. Like I can ride a skateboard the whole time, but me trying to pop tricks and really trying to learn it, that just fell apart.
Yeah,
So
I get it.
Sadly, I can't do that kind of stuff. But I'm always like okay at everything. Like I can ski. I can.
You can ski.
Yeah, I can ski.
Fucking hell.
We went first time we went skiing was with my secondary school.
Yeah.
And then I picked it up within like
you
a day.
guys talk shit about how I went to private school. If you didn't go fucking skiing, bro.
Yeah, I paid for it though.
That wasn't fucking on the itinerary. Skiing, bro.
Everyone paid for their own ski trip.
Yeah.
It cost like £1,000 per person.
Yeah, that's worth it though, honestly. Skiing. How often are you go skiing in your lifetime?
Once a year, hopefully.
Shit.
Like I love skiing, but it's like 2-3 times as expensive as like a summer holiday.
Yeah.
Just because of all the stuff that you need and everything, it's way more expensive, but it's so much more fun.
How is it like?
Oh, it's so sick. I want to go now, but that just shows. I've been skiing another time after that. It wasn't as good because the mountain range wasn't as good, but
Yeah.
that was fun. But yeah, we skied for a week, and I managed to pick up skiing within. I think on the second day I could like get around a little bit. Third day I was fine skiing.
Skiing, it looks kind of easy, but it's one of those ones.
Oh,
where,
it's so no.
Yeah, I can imagine. Everything, yeah, easy. But it looks kind of straightforward. Like you kind of just.
It is very straightforward, and it literally is as straightforward as it looks. But getting your like body to do what your brain is thinking isn't as easy.
Yeah, I get you.
It's like playing basketball. Everyone's like, oh yeah, you just throw the ball in the hole. Sure, yeah, it's exactly that. But right, getting your brain and you to like go, oh yeah, I need to put the ball like this in the basket.
Yeah.
And actually being able to do it, that's the hard part, and everyone struggles with that.
Mm.
Yeah, you did go to a private school as well.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
What was that like?
What was it like?
Yeah.
Well, for me, it was regular. Like, it was like.
Ooh, sorry. Sorry.
Because, like, I was there from nursery till year 11. So.
Damn, that's a long time.
And literally, when I left, like, it literally said, like, 2003 to 2016 or 15, one of those ones. It was like. It's my whole life. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't been to another school. But it was weird. Like secondary was weird. Like it's weird because like
You don't have another like school to compare it to.
Yeah, and like there's certain things that I would just think are just normal. That explaining sounds weird. Like for example, case in point being like my class was only 13 people, and that's the whole year of year 11 or whatever. There'd only be 13 people in that year.
Jesus.
It's only like literally once I left there and went to sixth form that I'm hearing like, okay, cool, you have 11A, 11B, 11C. Something like, what the hell?
We had for our year group it was 30 per. There's 420 per year group.
That's the thing. My school would have been like 200 in the secondary school.
Jesus, that's
Maybe,
nothing.
Maybe.
You barely had any friends.
But yeah, it's somewhat like it's definitely a unique experience. Because I'm from like Slough, innit? It's definitely a unique experience because everyone else in Slough goes to like comprehensive school, like state schools, all that kind of stuff in it. So the experience is very much unique, and the people you're around obviously are a lot more
upper
come
posh.
from a lot more kind of wealthier kind of households and stuff, innit? So seeing that and experiencing that, like, it's crazy. You see people come in to school, pick up their kids, and the biggest Range Rovers you've seen, like Mercedes, like Rolls Royce, all that kind of stuff, and it's weird. It's like it's weird, and that's like normal. Do you get me?
This is gonna be a weird question, but don't mean it in this way. But how many like black people was there? I don't mean it in like a weird way, but usually it's like private schools. They're basically
100%.
It looks like a bag of fucking Milky Bar kids.
Yeah. How many black people were there? Obviously there was. Obviously that was me.
Yeah. One.
Aaron was there.
1.5.
There's like, it's pretty like maybe in terms of like the secondary school when we were in year 11, maybe like if you're including mixed race people as well, because there was a mixed race guy in the year below us as well, maybe like 3, maybe 4. Do you get me? Like it's not a lot, like a handful. Do you get me?
So is that why you hate white people?
But yeah, the school was predominantly the school was mostly like Asian, so Indian, Pakistani kind of people. There's a minority of white people in the school as well. Like you're talking about like again a handful, maybe like 10 or something like that in the secondary school. But like it's predominantly like Indian, Pakistani and stuff. So again, like those experiences, I feel like were very much unique because you're kind of being like put in like and kind of almost living you're kind of amongst like loads and loads of like Indian Pakistan students. So it's kind of like you're kind of immersing yourself within their culture. So there's certain phrases, certain words that like you just kind of pick up and you just kind of would get. Like all that kind of stuff, innit? Which again, it's interesting, innit? Like it's definitely interesting. But yeah, the only thing about my school though is that like I'd say it's somewhat of a bubble because you're not
mixing with the common folk.
Kind of yes and kind of no. Do you get me? Like I said, it's different to the regular experience someone would have if they're in a state school. Do you get me?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. It's kind of in a bubble in that sense. Do you get me? Like, yeah. And there's just certain things like that. Like again, for me that'd be normal. Like for example, lunchtime, everyone would have to say grace.
It's very
like the whole school, like the whole everyone who's in lunch hall, like we have to just say grace.
Yeah, but there's only like 20 of you anyway.
So they stopped that at like year 9, I think, so something like that. But like
that would be a bit weird if your school's predominantly.
That's the thing. That's the thing. The root to the school is middle class white Christian. Do you get me? Because there'd be carol services every December or whatever. There'd be Christian-esque kind of events going on, despite the fact that like there's probably no Christians at the school. Do you get me?
Wait, are you Christian?
Am I Christian?
I've always wondered this.
Nah, I'm not Christian. My parents are Rasta, innit?
Yeah. But I always thought, like, obviously this may being a bit ignorant, but I always thought that Rasta was like a
form of Christianity.
Yeah, like kind of. It's not like.
Nah, it's not. It's not. It's not in its purest form. It's not. Do you get me? Because it's supposed to be. It's a complicated one because it depends on who you ask. Do you get me?
I'm asking you. What does it mean to you?
What does it mean to me? Okay, cool. To me, it's more of a Rastafari is more of a political movement.
Okay.
It's more of a political movement that came from Jamaica.
Yes. And
embodies Pan-Africanism, that embodies like ideas like reparations, repatriation. Reparations obviously is kind of like money, not just money, but like
material goods. Would you say?
Nah. Like people in the Caribbean, black people in the Caribbean, have experienced obviously one of the worst forms of human subjugation in the world, transatlantic slavery. And the argument for reparations is essentially that like from then the country trajectory is of course going to be very low because you're leaving a country decimate in terms of its economy
Mhm.
post-slavery. And the argument there is that, like, the money that you reaped from slavery, which funded the Industrial Revolution in the
Mhm.
1850s and stuff, surely, like, some of that is owed to the Caribbean countries and
Mhm.
America. Do you get me?
Yeah.
And essentially the descendants of African people who had to experience all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's reparations. Repatriation is the idea that black people in the Caribbean, in America, in Europe, or whatever, should return to their Rastafari, they call it their spiritual home, which is Africa.
Mhm.
Because obviously, translation, they're coming from Africa, literally.
Yeah.
That's the idea of repatriation, and there's been examples like of repatriation attempts. So if you look at countries like Liberia, that country was set up for the purpose of repatriation,
Yeah.
to the purpose of sending Africans back to Africa.
Mhm.
There's similar-ish kind of movements going on now. So the Ghanaian government, I think it was last year or 2018, I can't remember. They declared, I think it was 2019. They declared the year of repatriation, and they essentially invited black people who were dissatisfied with, like, the political system, wherever in their country, to come to Africa
Mhm.
as like a spiritual return. So you saw loads of popular rap artists, singers, what kinds of go to Ghana or whatever, and like and yeah, like, and I think they've extended that year to this year as well.
Mhm.
Both because of coronavirus, that's a bit mad.
Probably
But,
extend it another year.
Yeah, but like those are some of, like, the essential, like, ideas that underpin Rastafari, but because like, in my personal opinion, Jamaica's a very, very Christian country.
Yes.
Like,
That's like kind of like why I probably have that perception.
Jamaica's a very, very, very Christian country. We're talking about a country with, I think it was like some of the most churches per square mile than any other country in the world. Like, it's a very,
That includes
very,
like Texas.
it's a very, 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 very Christian country.
Mm.
So it's impossible to escape that.
Yeah.
Do you get me? So if you listen to someone like Bob Marley, in his music he'd reference the Bible.
Yeah.
He'd reference essentially Christian principles, Christian teachings within his music. But he'd someone that would call himself a Rasta. Do you get me?
Okay.
And he was. Do you get me? That's where it gets complicated, because me personally, I've always aligned myself with the political side to it.
Mm-hmm.
The Marcus Garvey, the Haile Selassie kind of those kind of parts of the movement. Other people align themselves with the religious aspect to it.
Yeah.
Because there is, it's a very, very complicated thing. Do you get me? Like, some people would be Rasta and then read the Bible. Some people would be Rasta and pray even, like Christians. Do you get me? Some people would be Rasta and be part of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Do you get me? So you know obviously, like, Russia has they're Orthodox Christians.
Yes, they are.
And there's Orthodox Christians in Syria as well, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, my parents are Orthodox Christians, so yeah.
It's the same thing in Ethiopia as well.
Yeah.
Rastafari is the name of Emperor Haile Selassie I,
Right.
of Ethiopia. His name was Tafari Makonnen.
Okay.
And Ras is the Ethiopian equivalent to like a Sir or Duke or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So his name is Rastafari, and that's kind of where the thing comes from. And yeah, there's a popular quote from Marcus Garvey. He's Jamaican political activist, he's so many, like, political, like, just, God, I don't know. But yeah, he created the UNIA, all that kind of stuff. He's known as the father of Pan-Africanism. Do you get me?
Mm-hmm.
He's like a very, like he was doing his thing in it. He had a quote saying, "Look to Ethiopia and a king will be crowned."
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of Rastas took that to mean Haile Selassie. Do you get me?
Yeah.
Because he was crowned in the 1930s. No, not 1930s, 1920s, sorry. He's crowned then, do you get me? And this is all in the time of Marcus Garvey and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, like, there's that aspect to it, because Haile Selassie, if he was a Christian person, because he's coming from Ethiopia, he's the emperor of Ethiopia.
Yeah.
He's a Christian person through and through. He's Christian Orthodox. So then some people take that and then say, I'm Christian Orthodox. but then would also say they're Rastafari as well.
Yeah.
That's when it's very, very complicated. And then you have those people who would say they're Rastafari, but then wouldn't even be involved in the political or the religious aspects to it. They just do it on like a social one. Like they'd have dreadlocks. They would. Do you get me? It kind of just depends on the person's interpretation of it.
Yeah. What do you think about like white people with who would identify as like Rastafarian or even wear dreadlocks? Because obviously there's a lot of divide in terms of people's opinions.
Yeah.
Is that cultural appropriation? Is that because I don't know? I wouldn't have an opinion on it really.
What is this cultural appropriation? I think white people. I feel like it's kind of common knowledge. White people in dreadlocks. It doesn't look the best.
No, I don't care about how it looks.
Yeah,
right?
you mean like the symbolic value?
Yes.
Would I say it's cultural appropriation?
What would you think when you saw a white person with dreadlocks other than you look clapped?
I think. I don't know. Like I wouldn't. I don't know because again, dreadlocks isn't like. It's not. It's not a Rastafari thing. Like there's Hindus, there's Sikhs with dreadlocks. There's loads of people. Jimmy, there's not like
it's dreadlocks in themselves are just the natural way your hair.
Jimmy, you watch like Braveheart, William Wallace. That he had dread. Essentially, when it's kind of like you just don't comb your hair.
Yeah,
that's essentially like the most quote unquote natural form your hair can be in if you just leave it uncombed.
I mean, it would become one big piece rather than individual.
But yeah, it depends on your hair structure though. Do you get me? For white people, it would look different because the hair is not thick. But like that. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So like the actual form of dreadlocks is. Do you get me? That's everyone. People have been doing that for ages. But then it's kind of, I mean, you take dreadlocks and then associate it with Rastafari and Jamaican culture as well. That's when obviously there's obviously issues with that. Like there's obviously issues with that. Especially if it's done and there's not like respect to where it came from or the struggles of the people that Rastafari represents to this day. Do you get me? But I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, you're white and you're doing this culture. Do you get me? Like that's that definitely does exist though. I'm not saying that definitely does exist. But like, I'm not one of those people who's gonna like police what white people do. Do you get me? Like, do you get me? Like, end of the day, like, do you get me? In my personal opinion, it's the same thing for anything. Like, you can't do a Chinese martial art. Love that martial art, but then at the same time diss the Chinese people. You can't do that. You can't have it both ways. Do you get me? It's either you like it and you fully involve yourself in that culture, you respect people it came from, or you don't. Do you get me? That's kind of where I see it. Do you get me? Like anybody can do a martial art, and everyone is free to, and everyone should. Do you get me? But like, we're not gonna sit here and pretend that Taekwondo came from Scotland. Do you get me? That's what happens with black culture in the modern world. Do you get me?
I think there's also like with different generations, like it's if your parents don't teach you, you're not really gonna find it anywhere else. Obviously, you can with like the internet, you can find it anywhere. The internet. But it's gonna be, it's more of your thing, and if you don't actively search it when you're growing up, you won't really know until later on in life.
100%. Is that, and then there's also again the external factors like the way certain things are marketed and how it's marketed and to whom it's marketed to. Like, one thing that shocks me even till now is kind of like rock and roll has its origins in black culture. Like, the biggest rock stars have said explicitly their influences are blues artists. Do you get me? Blues is a pioneering genre for rock and roll, but then if you stop any random black person in America or even in this country and say, would you listen to rock and roll? No, that's white people music because it's been targeted towards those people, towards that kind of people, innit? You think of rock and roll and the stereotype you think of is sweaty white dons in like a garage with like long hair and showered in weeks. Do you get me? That's kind of like the automatic assumption people would think. They wouldn't think like blues artist pioneer, and they were,
Yeah.
do you get me? Like,
I mean,
it's
most people
been-
don't understand like the history of music and where it comes from.
and there's reasons for that.
Mm.
Do you get me? People say that the same thing's going to happen with rap. Do you get me? I
Yeah.
kind of disagree, but
No, I don't think it's. Maybe it will, but not anytime soon.
Nah, yeah, I just don't feel like it's possible, but I don't feel like it's going to happen. Do you get me? Because it's too. I feel like rap music's too political.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that's true. I don't know, but I just feel like it's not. I just feel like that's we're not gonna see that. I do feel like we definitely see elements of like people trying it.
Mm.
I can't lie, because I was watching this video of this piano channel on YouTube, and they were doing like popular rap riffs in rap history, right?
Mhm.
And the cover they had was Tupac. This is like to represent rap music.
Mhm.
Dr. Dre
Yeah.
and Macklemore.
Okay, that's.
And Macklemore's in the middle, and he's the biggest person in the picture.
Yeah.
And that's a bit like they're trying it. Do you get me? They're clearly trying it. Like there's loads of elements of that, but like I feel like at its core, it's too it's too connected to I don't know. I just feel like I just can't see that happening. Me personally, like, yeah.
What was like because you went to a private school, what did people think of you being like Rastafari in school?
What
Because
do people think? Oh, okay.
because it's not a common thing to hear. Like you are the first person I've met that truly identifies as Rastafari. I know people who've had dreads. But no one who's definitively said that.
Yeah. What's it been like? I remember the day when because again, like, my school is like, population wise, them students is like fully like 90% Asian, maybe a couple percent black, couple percent white. That being said, I had to ask the headmaster if it was okay. Do you get me? Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't just do it, because that could potentially mean I could not be in the school anymore.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like, you can't just have cane rows, like, in nursery. Like, you'd be told to, like, kind of take them out. Do you get me? Have, like, a more European kind of, like, hairstyle. Do you get me?
I'm really against that, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say afterward.
Yeah, well, what's it like?
Because you probably get the question a lot. It's like, oh, does your hair stink? And I hate when I hear that about people with dreadlocks.
No one's really asked me that. It's more like
People do say it like behind someone else's back. I have heard it, and I've
Yeah.
actively defended against it, because I'm like, no, it's not. You can wash your dreadlocks, and it doesn't smell. Like, that perception of being
100%, yeah.
Dirty because you have
Unkept.
dreadlocks,
Yeah.
it really pisses me off, and I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and again, there's a basis in that, because there's a basis in those assumptions, because again, we look from when Rastafari emerged in Jamaica prominently in terms of like the 60s going on, the 60s, 70s, 80s. The popular reports from the news outlets in Jamaica was Rastas are dirty. And you get me? They're a bit weird. They're doing all this kind of stuff. Do you get me? They're not nice people to be around. Do you get me? Like, do you get me? All those kind of things that, like, you might hear of somebody who has dreadlocks to this day. Like, that was being said about Rastas in Jamaica during the time of their, like, cultural, like, emergence. But yeah, going back to your question, sorry. What people were saying, like, it was, again, like, don't get me wrong, there's loads of people who are like, it's cool, do you get me? Like, it's lit, like, what you're doing is lit, like, because obviously, again, I'm growing up in an era where it's kind of like, having dreadlocks looks kind of cool, do you get me?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, do you get me? Like, people, I'd say people for the most part are a lot more, this is cool, dreadlocks, man, you want love, man. But again, if I was growing up in the 80s, it'd have been peak. Do you get me?
Yeah. What do you think of like rappers with dreadlocks?
Well, I think rappers.
Because it's so common now. Like most rappers now have dreadlocks.
Yeah. It's interesting. To me personally, dreadlocks are a political statement.
Yeah.
I feel like over recent years and stuff, they have become somewhat of a fashion accessory, somewhat of kind of like I'm trying something new, look at me. But to me, they've always been a political statement. That's kind of what I do see it as.
Yeah. It's probably because that's what you
Yeah, 100%,
consider it.
100%. So when you see someone like Kendrick Lamar with dreadlocks, no, like, or dreadlocks, something similar or resembling, do you get me?
Yeah.
To me, that means something. When you see someone like J. Cole with dreadlocks, to me, that means something. And I feel like, yeah, but that's kind of what I take from it.
I think Kendrick and J. Cole probably have some form of understanding.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
They
Okay,
don't
yeah.
come across as ignorant
Yeah.
to information.
Okay, but if you look at someone like, I don't know, like, does it look on my dreadlocks?
He did. I think he shaved them off, but I don't know. I mean, Trippie Redd has
he shaved his
dreadlocks.
eyebrows as well.
Yeah,
He's doing anything.
but I mean, like people like Trippie Redd, who clearly, I don't know, but I'd probably guess wear dreadlocks as for fashion as a hairstyle.
I think it's more of a fashion accessory, kind of like a look at me kind of thing.
Or dyeing them red, blue, green.
That's a bit mad. But yeah, like, it is what it is, isn't it? Like, people have their own prerogative. People trying to do what they want, I guess.
I mean, you can't police that. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that's a very modern thing. Like, people think that, like, my opinion is so right that, like, I can tell you what you can and can't do. It's a bit like,
did you
get me?
That shouldn't be the case. Everyone should be able to, like, say and do what they want freely within reason, obviously.
Of course, yeah. Like,
don't go around stabbing people. Like, wouldn't recommend that, please.
100%. But yeah, like, it is what it is, isn't it? Like, you've had people like that before, and you're gonna have people like that in the future. Do you get me?
It's like the. I feel like I might be getting this wrong, but an MP wore or had braids, and she got told that it wasn't considered
proper hairstyle to have.
Yeah, more for like what was I gonna say, like formal hair or whatever. Typical business wear. And then I have a look, and directly across is like Boris Johnson, who's
with the scruffy hair and stuff.
Oh, he looks like he got it done with a knife and fork.
The thing is, oh god,
like they don't uphold the same standards. Where someone with intricate braided hair that's been done nicely, it's not a mess, it's clean, it's washed. Wearing it a certain way, but then there's this guy who looks like he just woke up out of bed,
literally,
who's representing the country, and that's the first image people have. It's a bit embarrassing, really. Like,
but then I feel like, again, like, it peels back the layers. Do you get me? Because we all, to an extent, we live in England. We don't live in America. We don't live in a country where there's Trayvon Martins or there's George Floyd. Do you get me? To the same extent, there is obviously police brutality in its own way. But, like, we live in a country where most people would walk around saying, yeah, this country is not racist, this country is da-da-da-da. I feel like the example you give, again, peels back the layers and kind of like you see what underpins the country.
This country might not be as racist as, like...
But you can't...
I mean...
That doesn't make any sense, though.
But, wait, what I was going to say is, like, but then we live in London, which is probably one of the most diverse cities in the world. You go outside of London and it's a very different story.
Put it this way. Let's say you didn't like me, right?
Okay, let's say that's not true. Maybe it is.
Let's say Brandon doesn't like me as well, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you didn't like me. Let's say Brandon doesn't like me as well, right? The way you'd go about doing that are two very different things, right? You might see me and want to fight me. Brandon might just not want to talk to me ever.
Yeah.
You get me? Does that mean that does that mean you dislike me more than Brandon does?
Yeah.
Do you get me?
That's
essentially what we're dealing with. Do you get me? Essentially.
I mean, England culturally is a nation that's known. It's like stereotypically known that people just mind their own business a lot. Like.
Yeah.
Like there's so many times you hear shit. It's like, oh, someone could be dying on the tube, and people would just literally just sit there and pretend they don't exist. Like, it's not a very inclusive nation, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have as much of a sense of community as maybe you might get in other places around the world.
The vibe in England is definitely, like, if you even compare it to other European countries, it's very, very different. Like, there definitely is a strong sense, actually, of, like, it's England or it's the UK, do you get me? It's not, like, easy case in point being, like, without going into too deep into Brexit, you ask the average English person, the average British person, do you see yourself as European?
Yeah.
And they probably wouldn't be like, yeah.
No.
Do you get me? Then like, it's like we're England, because obviously like geographically England's detached from mainland Europe, so I feel like that helps in building a kind of like a thing in British people's minds that like we're not part of Europe, like we're not actually like one of them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so even when you talk about like political issues like race or classism, sexism, we compare ourselves to America. But it's kind of like America's 1,000 of miles. Why don't we compare ourselves to France or Germany or Spain? Do you get me?
Yeah.
These things all kind of help in building this kind of perception that like England's, do you get me? Like not in Europe.
Yeah.
I feel like,
I mean, it very clearly is, and
well, it's not anymore.
Well, it's not, but I feel like that might get turned back. I think they might.
You think they're going to turn it back?
I think it very possibly could jump ship with a new wave of
I don't
younger.
know. I don't know if they haven't even left yet properly. So like turning back, like
Yeah, no, I get that.
down the line.
But I think eventually that the UK will somewhat come back, or they'll do something else, because it might be that everyone splits off and does their own thing, and then later on everyone's
What do you mean, like the countries in the union?
Yeah, I think because as soon as the UK voted they wanted to leave, there was just an uproar from other countries like, oh wait, we can leave, we want to leave as well, and it's like, well, hold on a minute.
because again, like obviously in the UK, England has the biggest population.
Yeah.
But Scotland overwhelmingly voted to remain in the EU. Wales voted to remain. Northern Ireland voted to remain in the EU. England voted, we want to leave.
Yeah.
But because England has the biggest population, their decision essentially overrides everyone else.
Yeah.
That's why Scotland's a bit like, what the fuck? Like, we want to leave. Like fuck you guys then. Do you get me?
Do you think if all of the kingdom basically, that sounds funny.
The kingdom.
Yeah. If Northern Ireland, Scotland, and eventually Wales all split off and become independent nations, do you think people would jump ship and move?
It depends on how like it depends how successful those nations are independently. I do feel like Scotland either is going to like have another referendum. Actually, no, 100%.
They will have another.
I feel like they will definitely. And the way COVID-19 is going, the way Brexit is going, support for them, support for SNP is growing. Do you get me? They've been the biggest party in Scotland for time now. Like for 2-3 elections, they've dominated essentially the whole of Scotland. So I feel like the success or failure of independent Scotland, if they go down that road, will be a deciding factor for Wales, Northern Ireland, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because I mean they can't all leave at the same time. I think Northern
100%,
Ireland is more likely to join the Republic and adopt those. Yeah. That as a nation, and then Wales. I don't even know how many people live in Wales.
It's probably something like 5 million. It's not a lot of people.
It's so little.
Like Wales is like, the reason why Wales has not got an imprint on the Union Jack is because Wales has always been considered like not a country. It's always been considered you're just part of England, like the little brother almost. You know, you're not big enough to actually own, to have like your own.
Not.
Do you get me?
Wales.
But yeah, like the success of Scotland if they leave the UK will be the determining factor for if other countries leave. Because if they leave and they're lit, their economy is doing the madness to give me the part of the EU again.
People, especially on borders, will move. Especially if you live like very close to Scotland and Scotland's doing really well, you could very easily just move across, because if they do become an independent nation, they're going to have to do something where English people and Scottish people can migrate freely. Yeah,
and they have like borders and all that kind of stuff in there.
It wouldn't be hard borders. It'll be like Northern Ireland.
It would have to be. It would have to be hard.
Northern
borders.
Ireland and Ireland don't have a hard border. You can just drive across.
But I'm saying that's the whole reason. That's one of the reasons why Brexit is taking that's why it's mad right now, because Northern Ireland is not in the EU, because if it's in the UK, Republic of Ireland is. You can't have a free border where you can essentially go from one country not in the EU to another country. You can do a madness like through smuggling, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Exploiting trade rules, all that kind of stuff. So that is one of the things that is making Brexit so difficult, because they don't want to put a hard border on the island of Ireland because that might reinvigorate the troubles. But then they don't want to. You can't not put a border there. Do you get me?
Yeah, it's a little bit fucked up.
That is one of the main sticking points about this whole thing. That's why it's so difficult.
There's also fishing rights and stuff.
The fishing, that's more minor. That's more minor though. That's more like
it's a big thing that gets overlooked.
It's a big thing that is not a big thing.
No, it is. It's a huge thing.
The thing is, it is, but it's more about the principle, not necessarily about like the people. If that makes sense. Like, on again on TLDR, they're saying how like fishing equates like 0.1% in the economy, but again, it's more about sovereignty. We want to fish how we want in our waters.
Yeah.
We don't want to be judged by the EU because we're the UK and we're Little Britain. Do you get me? Like that's kind of like the vibe that like that's kind of like the principle. I feel like essentially that like the negotiations are kind of on. Like we don't want to be told by you what we can and can't do in our waters.
Do you think
it's more that than like actual like issues? Do you get me?
Do you think the UK being independent is going to be successful or not?
Again, it depends. I don't know. It depends. Like,
and by success, I mean increase in value of GDP. That's the only real metric that you can consider.
Okay. Things being successful. Me personally, I don't think so, because again, it's not just Brexit. It's the way it's going about it as well.
Yeah, it's
like I feel like we have like one of the worst governments in British history.
Oh, I find it hard pressed for any person of any political.
We have generally one of the worst governments, and it's like that's not even me exaggerating because I'm not a Tory or whatever. I feel like it's genuinely.
I think everyone unifies with that statement right now.
Like generally, like the way they've been handling the COVID-19 situation has been poor.
It's been poor. It's been an embarrassment. We've been shown up by every other country pretty much, other than the US, they're in their own league because of who they have in charge. But
yeah, this country
the UK is a strong second as one of the most embarrassing ways to control the virus, basically.
That's the thing. I feel like if there was a stronger government in place, Brexit is damaging regardless. But I feel like the impact it would have culturally, politically, economically, could be lessened if there was a more competent government in place.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like because we don't have that, that's not reality for us. We have essentially Boris Johnson in power.
I love the phrase, the fish rots from the head down.
From the head down, yeah.
it works so many times.
I heard that in sixth form when we were doing Hamlet.
Yeah.
Like, that phrase is hard.
I don't know where I heard it from, I just know I've heard it, and every time I think like there's something to blame, you just have to work your way up, and obviously it always falls back to the person in charge if something's failing.
And I feel like that phrase can be applied for everything, really.
Yep.
Like for everything. Like again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, racism in this country. Like when we talk about racism in this country, we talk about we kind of go to the easy tropes of the Nigel Farage and like the angry white guy in the pub saying get out of our country. We don't talk about like the higher ups, because I'm pretty sure like Steve from the pub didn't create like racist ideas and ideals and ideologies that like, do you get me, funded the British Empire. Do you get me? So like that phrase is a very powerful phrase, and it definitely speaks to me, it speaks to the misconceptions we have about things in society and where they come from. So I feel like people get scapegoated all the time.
Yeah, people look at surface level a lot, and that's what they consider. But there's usually a deeper root to the problem. I mean, I saw on Instagram, and I've just been monitoring like New Zealand. Oh, I wish I was in New Zealand.
I remember you were talking about this.
We were talking about the other day.
Yeah.
And I just wish I was from New Zealand because Jacinta Ardern, the New Zealand Prime Minister, just announced that her and all the other MPs are taking a pay cut.
They did that earlier on, I think.
Yes.
Because of the COVID.
They straight away they did that. They managed to have no cases for weeks in New Zealand.
They had some more recently though. A couple ones here and there.
But it was all from like tourists coming in or New Zealanders returning and bringing it back. But they have controlled it brilliantly. That woman knows what she's doing, and she's running a country.
There's definitely examples of countries, like even Sweden, like the way they've been handling COVID-19 has been very successful to some point. 'Cause they've done it without having a national lockdown.
Yeah, they kind of went with what the UK was gonna do in the
The herd
originally.
immunity thing.
Yeah, and Sweden obviously faced its own share of criticism for deciding to go down that route.
100%.
But right now they're
they're looking lit in comparison to the UK and the US and
Yeah.
Italy and Spain and all that. Do you get me?
every other nation they just
Was it
understood that they had to bite the bullet in the beginning.
Yeah.
And
Even South Korea, was it South Korea?
yep, South Korea.
Yeah, because they had like the app, like the track and tracing that we just got now. They had that pattern from day. Like everyone has it.
They also had a SARS outbreak years ago. So
yeah, and COVID-19 is
yes, it's a
so
form.
SARS is a form of coronavirus, something like
Yes, they're all forms of coronavirus,
Yeah.
and then COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2 is
Yeah.
just another
that. The
strain.
newest iteration of it. Yeah.
It's all the coronavirus is part of like the common cold family. It's just this one's become more deadly.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. But yeah, like so the way they handled it was mad. Like they patterned it properly. You get
Yeah.
me? Through again a very strong like application.
And I think it's also the understanding and the support of everyone who lives in those countries who's like, okay, the government enforces something and everyone backs it. Everyone's like, okay, we understand. We're gonna
there's not a lot of confusion or whatever.
yeah, it's like this is what's gonna happen. We're gonna lose, I guess, our freedoms for a little bit, but it's all for the greater good.
Yeah, but
peop-
Boris Johnson tells you to go outside and tells you to go back in, and then
Everyone thinks he's having a laugh and just tell him to piss off and you can't really blame people for that because of what he's done. He's just gone back and forth with everything
back
so
and forth
much.
everything, and then there's government scandal after government scandal. The Dominic Cummings thing,
Yeah,
government scandal. The recent thing with the Excel spreadsheet, crazy, crazy.
yeah.
Do you get me?
It's people have lost faith in the government and what they the beginning.
and that's the worst thing to have in a situation like this.
Yeah.
Where you need to have faith in the government.
Yeah.
Or, you need to have faith in the government that they are going to
Act on your best interest.
yeah, and essentially do the best to protect the country. That's what I'm saying. I feel like again, this is one of the worst governments to have, especially during these times where there's
I mean, when a government comes at adversity, that's really when you figure out whether they're good or not. Like the last couple of years, what has been the biggest thing? Brexit recently. That's not that big of a thing to deal with in terms of organizing the nation to do something.
well, it is.
It's big, but it's not like
Brexit is big. Like we're gonna be talking about Brexit in 50, 70. Brexit is not just like a trending
but
thing
it's
for
like
2 weeks. Like
is Brexit the same thing as getting everyone in the country to understand that the social distancing and wearing mask rules?
I feel like it is as big as that. The impact it's gonna have is going to be huge. Like
Yeah, but they're also right now in the same time they're just kind of ignoring Brexit completely. It's just getting sidelined.
I'm saying I feel like the end of this year is tapped because we're heading essentially, in my personal opinion, towards a second lockdown.
Yeah.
That's converging with the economy being in tatters, and that's converging with Brexit, the deadline being end of this month or wherever. You can converging all these things, and it's like it's a recipe made for disaster.
Yeah.
Do you get me? But yeah.
Government's absolute shambles. It needs to be
it's all
sorted.
mad. But yeah, as Stormzy says, fuck the government, fuck Boris.
Literally, and I think that everyone's taking up the same thought process right now.
Yeah.
Even I'm like, fuck the government, because they just don't know what they want to do anymore.
Thing is, even still, like we're saying this, but I could see him winning another election though.
I couldn't. I've said it before. I don't see him winning another
No,
election.
I could see him win because his personality is like, you know, when someone's like,
Yeah, but
that's just Boris though, and that's kind of his thing, like.
No, but I've even met people who were hard Tories and defended him, and they were just like, yeah, fuck Boris now. They've U-turned on him, not the party, but they've U-turned on him. And I think I might have said it in the last episode where I was like, I don't believe that he, as the leader of the Tory party, will win again. They will win again if they get rid of him, but right now they have no one to replace him. He is.
They do. Like, I feel like Rishi
obviously
Sunak, the Chancellor, I feel like he's
really short.
he has really big ears as well.
Yeah.
Look at his ears. He's fucking like.
Yeah.
I wonder what headphones he uses. But anyway, he's someone that I feel like is pegged to become like a future prime minister or future leader of the Labour,
Yeah.
leader of the Conservative Party. Sorry, but I feel like Tories are gonna win because Labour's not like they're just not it. Do you get
Thing
me?
is, right, Labour can't do much without being given power. Let's be honest. Without having majority, they can't really implement.
But I feel like again, like their leadership, their style of whatever, like there's not a lot of difference. I feel like with Keir Starmer and Boris Johnson in terms of actual policies, they're not that far away. Do you get me? They're not that far apart.
Yeah,
really.
but none of the parties are really that different, to be honest.
That's true-ish. Again, Jeremy Corbyn was detached from like the status quo in terms of Labour and Conservative leaders.
Yeah.
He was definitely a detachment from that. But yeah.
Then I don't think any of them are good enough. Any of the MPs could run this country. I think if it was my option and I could do it, I'd just get rid of the lot of them. Just a whole whitewash. Let's start from the beginning. Let's get some.
I'll have Greens win.
Yeah.
Don't legalise marijuana.
Mate, just get something different in. Like, at this point, how much worse could we get?
I get you.
Like, it's really gotten to that point, and I think a lot of people share that position where they're like, how much worse can it get? Let's just get something different in. Just.
I get you, but then again, like that's very difficult because the political system that we have is very, very rigid in terms of who can and who can't win. Do you get me? So it's essentially built for a two-party race.
Yeah.
More or less. It's essentially built for this or that. It's not built for a fringe party to come out, galvanise the people and then win in large amounts. It's not designed for that.
No.
To its benefit and to its negative as well.
Downfall, I think.
Yeah. I lost my words there. But yeah. It's all mad though.
No, the government really needs to sort itself out, and it actually pisses me off how much they scapegoat students and basically young people altogether.
Yeah.
That's really what like pisses me off, because the few people that are, or the majority of people that are following government guidelines, especially when it comes to like face coverings and things, I feel like are younger people.
Well then, if we're doing it, I feel like we should have it both ways. Like, we've heard of so many flat parties, uni parties. Do you get me?
But
you saw Coventry, like they won Sky
But
News.
do you think
like,
that would have happened if it wasn't for the government scapegoating them, everyone being told to go to places, then not go to places, then go to places, then not go to places, and then losing faith in it? Because in the beginning, everyone did like follow and adhere to guidelines, like pretty much everyone was following.
Yeah. For the first couple
months, until it started like getting wish-washed as to what you can and can't do.
Like the scandals as well.
Yeah, it was just the whole mess. Everyone's lost faith, and that's why you have student parties. But I don't think it's fair that you blame the resurgence in the virus on young people going out and using your scheme, which you told everyone to use, to go out and help support the economy, basically.
Yeah.
You're just scapegoating young people who don't really have a voice in Parliament, because they aren't represented clearly by anyone there that you could think of. Like,
I hear you.
Anyone who's between the ages of 18 and 25 doesn't. I don't find faith in anyone in the in fucking cabinet. They're all fucking useless. I want to get someone better in. Get someone who I can relate to. I can't relate to a fucking 50-year-old man who went to, what's that private school that they all go to? Eton. Yeah. What the fuck? I don't get him. What's he know about me?
It's down the road from us.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's we don't have a voice at all in Parliament, even though things affect us so much.
And again, I'm saying like, it's made that way. Do you get me?
Yeah, I know.
And
it's wrong.
Do you get me? Like that's the thing. Like, but like, it's by design. It's not by accident. Like, there's not like a 25-year-old. There probably is maybe like one or two. Do you get me? But like on the whole, you're looking at 45 over and over kind of people. Do you get me?
If not more.
Do you get me? Yeah.
Most of them are probably older, but
because again, like the way that it's designed is kind of like you're not just going into politics 18, 16, whatever, you're not looking at the cabinet or the top job prime minister for years. Do you get me?
I'm not saying put a 20-year-old in because they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah. But I give you more like representation of young people.
Yeah.
In positions of power.
And I think Corbyn tried to do that. Corbyn tried to market himself as that.
I feel like he heard a lot of things, and I feel like he was made to be a joke.
Yeah.
Do you know, he was talking about putting more funding into the NHS. Imagine if he did that, just before COVID-19 hit. I wonder how things would have been. Do you get me?
You shoulda, coulda, woulda done everything, but like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then again, I don't know. But then again, his plan was again one of the most radical left wing proposals that a Labour party's given. Do you get me? Since like the 40s and 50s. Do you get me?
Maybe that would have been the right move to just have one radical change.
That's the thing that people made fun of Jeremy Corbyn. He's crazy. But everything we benefit from, now, is created by those radical leftists. They created the NHS. Do you get me? They created the social housing movement that was going up until Thatcher's era, when like the council houses that we essentially see now, those were built from the 40s and 50s and 60s. Every government had to build I think like 1 million a year council houses for people, affordable living for people to live in. That was from the 45 government with Clement Attlee. Do you get me? That was the most radical government, the most radical left government that we've had. Do you get me?
Yeah.
And all the benefits that we have from there, do you get me? We still have today, isn't it? So like,
and no one old enough now can say that they experienced that mainly. So.
No.
40s and 50s, right?
No, but I'm saying that like, old people who are older can definitely say they enjoyed the benefits of a free healthcare.
No. What I'm saying is that people today aren't old enough to
remember that.
Yeah, have seen that government do that. Like, if that was in the 40s and 50s, you had to be 18 to vote. You have to be at least 100 now.
Trust me.
So you have to be born in the 20s. For you to have experienced that, and then obviously that's been kind of lost.
But then again, that's what I'm saying. History is the most important subject, because you need to know these things, you need to understand these things. You're looking at me like, what the fuck?
History is not the most important subject, but.
But these things should be common knowledge, though. Do you get me? Like,
and I think I'm one of the biggest advocates of restructuring the entire school system in some way. I don't have an answer of how. I think there is better ways to do it. I think that a lot of general knowledge in school is a bit of a waste.
I think there should be a lot more like community service as well. Personally, in terms of like, I've been thinking about this for a while. In terms of like, imagine if in your local area, like, you had to do certain amount of hours of just minor things like picking up litter, picking up garbage around the area, to kind of show how important recycling and all that kind of stuff is in terms of damaging the environment. Imagine if you had to, from a young age, from day one, from year 3, you're being taught that it's not okay just to throw litter on the floor. You need to put it in the bin. This is the bin for this, that's the bin for this. Imagine if like, you've been taught that from day one. What kind of society are you building like that?
I mean, I have been taught that from day one, but that's a testimony to my.
Been taught like that.
Yeah, no, that's a testimony to my upbringing and not the government's well doing in teaching me stuff. The government education system has taught me fuck all, whereas private education, being university, has taught me so much more in terms of knowledge and understanding. That is way more important, and I think teaching as a degree is just looked down on so much. It's not as high rewarded and esteemed as in other countries. In other countries, teachers are looked at in a much better light.
Bro, like, I was told though, so you go China with your teaching qualifications from the UK, you're getting money. Like,
it's a way more
money. You're rolling in it, bro. You go to Dubai with a teaching degree from the UK. What? Like, come on.
It's a very esteemed position to have, to be a teacher, and I think that more people.
And again, people only we only realize these things when shit happens. You get me? You only realize how important a nurse is once you need a nurse. Do you get me?
Yeah.
But like once everything's calm and everything's good, obviously you can shit on nurses, like not pay them, whatever. teaches the same thing. But like again, when a COVID-19 hits, you realize how important a school is, or how important teachers are.
I mean, I've always said it, and I've told people that later on in life I'd love to get into teaching, but not in my early career, just because it's not enough to support me, and I'm not passionate enough about that to teach.
That's snotty kids.
It's not kids like that. I think I'd be a good teacher, but I'm not passionate about doing that as a career.
Yeah.
I want that to be like my side job where I've earned enough money in my later on in life to support
Brandon
myself.
says the exact same thing. He should like the exact.
That's because he copied me. I've told him that.
He does the exact same thing. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it when I'm older. Like, it'd be like a retirement kind of gig. Like,
yeah, but I'd only teach maths because it's really easy to mark.
yeah, it's either it's right or wrong, innit? There's not really two ways about it.
Yeah, that's a very simple thing, and I think that's the thing that teachers mostly complain about is marking. Whereas I remember my maths teacher in A level, he finished marking all of our tests within the 10-minute break that we had between a double. You just mark all of them and then handed them back to us. So I was like,
I think teachers should get paid like.
They should get paid more, but they should not.
They should get like 50K. Yeah, like.
They do.
No, they don't.
They do because
entry level teacher they can have 20-something thousand. You get me?
The teacher.
You're talking about like deputy heads and headmasters and shit.
No. I remember because we had a dodgy physics teacher who came in when our physics A level teacher just disappeared. So they just got someone in because they needed to, and he told us that they're paying him like 50K a year to teach, and he's using that. No. He told us, he was like, I don't care about being a teacher. I'm just gonna use this money to fund my my project, my business, and then he dipped after a little while. But they do pay. Teachers are
not getting 50K a year.
They do.
They are not.
They do, but it's only because there's this like urge and incentive because schools don't have enough teachers.
There's a shortage across the country.
Yeah, the government is subsidizing and paying them. They're like, just you need a teacher in this position,
especially in like STEM subjects and those kind of ones.
Yeah, because why would demand. I mean, you have to think about it logically as a person. It's like, I'm going to be a chartered engineer in 5-6 years. I could be earning at least 50-60K a year.
Why would you want to become a teacher?
Why would I want to become a teacher where I don't work in that field? I don't have a direct impact to something that I'm truly passionate about.
Yeah.
And I have to deal with kids, which again isn't.
And kids who are not interested in what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, that's a really challenging thing where I could work with adults who are also passionate about something and work together.
And then you literally you do all that, and then you essentially become Walter White at the beginning of Breaking Bad, just the miserable teacher. Do you get
exactly? Me? And so there is no incentive.
Best great series ever, by the way.
Yeah, I agree.
Have you seen Money Heist?
No.
You need to see that.
Yeah.
You need to see that.
The STEM subjects, especially, there's every career other than being a teacher is better in every way. So no one wants to be that teacher. That's why there's such a shortage, and the government is trying to fund people into that position where no one wants to do it.
100%.
Whereas sadly with other degrees, such as history, other than being like a historian or working in a museum directly. I don't know of many other jobs where you directly use your degree than being a history teacher or being a music teacher or being a geography teacher. Geography a little bit, but those kind of the humanitarian degrees and the arts, they don't have direct roles that pay enough.
I feel like
in other fields.
Again, I said this to you before. I feel like history is like a good through board. You get me? You may not necessarily use it. You may not on its own be able to be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this and this and this. But I feel like it can be a good through board into like literature in terms of like, or even further pursuits in the arts. You get me? Like, or even more corporate jobs, like again lawyers or businessmen, all that kind of stuff. You can't be a lawyer.
You still have to get your degree in law.
100%. But then
so you're doing a degree that through balls into another degree. Whereas
that's the story for most jobs though. Like you are going to need even teaching. You don't just have a degree and you just become a teacher. You need to be qualified as a teacher. So that's the same thing for most things. Like
teaching's a course and not a degree. I'm sorry, but
But either way, it is like a year or 2 year course that you have to do to enable to be qualified to teach. Do you get me? Same kind of principle for lawyers, whatever. Okay, cool. You have to go to law school, whatever. Do you get me? Be qualified, but like a history degree can get you into those kind of into those kind of areas if you have the right connections and stuff. Same thing with banking. Same thing with business kind of stuff as well.
but you're not like
But either way, like I feel like it's a misconception that history is kind of like university degree is like a 2-way street. You either become a teacher or a museum, like one of them dusty museum guys. Do you get me? Like,
the museum guy sounds like a more interesting job, if I'm honest.
At least you've been speaking to people that actually care about what's going on.
Yeah, no, it's not. Even with your degree and you're trying to like through ball with quotation marks yourself, you're not gonna be anywhere near prioritized as anyone else who's done that direct degree. So if you're going
that's
up
not
against,
true though. That's not true though.
But if you're on same experience, then you're not. Experience is key for any job.
Experience is key for any job.
Yeah, but
it's not true to say that if you, for example, I'm doing a history degree now, obviously.
Yeah.
And if I was to then be like, yeah, I'm gonna become a lawyer, I don't feel like it's true that I'm gonna be like at a disadvantage because I did history, not law. Do you get me? In law school, whatever. Do you get me? I don't feel like that's true. I feel like a history degree is very valuable. Do you get me? Especially if you get like a first or a 2-1 history. That's just valuable. Like it's not like a.
Yeah, but I don't think it's yeah. I mean, we can just go off timetables right now, in terms of workload and difficulty. It's not as hard as other degrees. There's no way it's as difficult.
Your degree is steroids. Get me? Like
I don't even have the hardest degree. That's the worst part. I don't have the most difficult one. I think computer science students are even worse. That's even worse.
Jesus Christ. Computer science, biomed, all those kind of ones. It just sounds like a headache. Like 3 years.
It's a lot of work.
Dentistry, all those kind of ones.
That's why I hold doctors are even longer. It's 5 years at least for a junior doctor.
Yeah.
To be a consultant level is nearly 10.
Mad.
So I'm trying to say those kind of degrees are way more esteemed and more difficult, more prestigious, and in turn I'd say a doctor is also more important than a historian. No offense, but
it depends again. It depends on what you call important, what you consider important. 100%. A doctor. A doctor is mad important.
I think a doctor wins in terms of importance in against every other field.
Yeah.
Like an actual medical practitioner.
100%. But like, history does have a place in society.
What I'm trying to get is like, I don't think we need loads of historians. I think we would benefit with enough history people, but a lot of those history people being funneled into STEM subjects where they could have a more direct impact. Obviously, if I'm saying do whatever you're passionate about, but
then again, it depends on what you call or consider important.
How many art historians do we need? Let's be honest. How many?
But then, would you say there is a strong understanding of art history in this country?
I also don't think there is.
Would you say there's a strong understanding?
No, but I also don't think it's relevant.
No. So then, obviously, there is a need for that. Then.
Yeah, but I don't think it's relevant. Like, I don't think it's needed that there's like 50 people on a course a year graduating art history, and there's only 10 people finishing their medical school. Like, I think those 50 people, 20 could probably do well enough to go into a medical degree.
I get what you're saying, but then again, it comes back to my question: what do you consider important? What does society consider important?
I think advancing human life.
I feel like whenever there's
here's a quick question. I think that will answer everything. Is like, if you could go forward in time or back in time, which would you pick?
Obviously, you're forward.
You'd go forward.
Yeah.
Then why? Then why'd your whole history to such a regard?
But then one thing that history has taught me is kind of like It's gonna sound oxymoronic, but like history's taught me that like time is not linear. It's not past, present, now. It's a kind of continuous circle of the same stories again and again and again. I feel like that's the story of like. I feel like that's what history teaches me personally.
Okay.
That like it's the same story repeated in different ways, but it's the same. Essentially, it's the same story again and again and again. You look through modern history, modern times. It's the same shit's repeating itself in different manifestations in different parts of the world. That's essentially what I feel like history's taught me, and it's changed my perception of what time is. Do you get me? So yeah.
Sorry. I think I just don't think that how many people are on your course right now?
How many people?
Yeah.
How many people that turn up? How many people are actually on?
How many people are on the course?
How many people on the course? Probably like, on just pure history.
No, how many people go to like a lecture?
Again, you're asking different questions at once. How many people?
Yeah, but what it like, everyone that goes to your lectures is probably doing a similar sort of degree.
Yeah, the
So
history or politics and history.
Yeah, that kind of so.
In an average class, you're probably looking at like maybe 15, 20
Okay.
people. And again, that's for the people that turn up. Like, again, like I had a course
You could
last
probably
year.
double or triple that, but in terms
Easy,
of,
yeah.
Okay, it's very different to what we have.
Yeah.
But then again, Brunel is a very a STEM focused university.
Yeah, definitely.
It's massive, whereas we have about 200 people on mechanical engineering alone.
Yeah.
That doesn't include the other forms of engineering.
I feel like ultimately, like we're essentially saying very similar things. I feel like, again, I'm not trying to take anything away from it. I feel like mechanical engineering is 100% important. Do you get me? I feel like it does essentially have its place in society, and it is very, very important.
I think you could thank most modern things that you look at to engineering.
100%, but like, I don't know. Like for me personally, like I feel like history's like everyone needs to have like. If you don't know where you've been or where people have been, how are you gonna know where you're going? And that's just. That's
Then
just
again,
it.
in my field,
like,
I don't need to know that. That's the thing. It takes this all
you
that.
do.
Like,
That's a lie. You do.
not really. Let's be
You're
honest.
telling me you don't need to understand how previous cars were built in order to improve it. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but that's just understanding.
It's understanding the past.
So you're considering history as everything that's happened before.
That is that's the definition of history. History.
Yeah,
history isn't just 1945. History is.
But I mean,
history could be the history of cars.
Yeah, but you're not
looking
going
at like
to
Tom Ford
university
and all
to
that
study
kind of dons.
You're going a history degree doesn't entail
Again, you're
that.
talking about something completely different. Then I'm talking about history as in just history.
Yeah, history the word.
You're talking about history degree. I'm talking about history in general.
Yeah, I've always been talking about history the degree. History the word is just everything that's happened before. Obviously,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
you have to know.
If you expand history to that, then it's kind of like you
All
can't.
right, no,
you
I want to I want to compress it into the degree.
Because essentially, what I'm doing is political history. Essentially, like, but again, you could spin off into multiple different things, like history of engineering or whatever. Do you get me?
Yeah, but the history of engineering is not applicable to engineering, right?
It is.
It's not. We don't in our
okay,
degree.
Cool. You're not going like, okay, cool. 1930, this guy did this. You're not doing that. But again, I don't know a lot about engineering.
Clearly.
But you, but you need to know how. If you were studying a plane, how you need to know how they were built before in order to improve it. You need to.
No.
That is it. That's understanding the
You
past.
actually don't, because you don't
That
look.
doesn't even make any sense. How are you gonna improve something you don't know? You don't know.
You don't need to know how the first plane was built at all.
Not the first plane.
No,
Ever,
no, but
like,
you're looking at basically the previous model and like
the previous model. Okay.
But
Okay.
the fundamentals of engineering are the physics, which doesn't change no matter when.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say like it is like a history module, like low key. Do you get? I'm just trying to say that like history in itself.
I have to understand the things that happen. Well done.
I'm saying history. The word is so like essential to everything and anything that like you can't avoid it. Do you get me?
Okay, yeah.
Like you can't tell me that like as doing engineering degree you're not gonna go far without understanding somewhat the past of engineering. You can't go far without doing that. Do you get me?
Yeah, but at the same time,
That is history.
Okay, but at the same time, I don't need to know that the Wright brothers were the first ones to.
But would
to
it benefit your understanding knowing that though?
Not really.
You're lying. You're lying.
Because
Would it not benefit your understanding if you were doing planes whatever, knowing that these dons were doing this, that, da, 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 da. It would benefit your understanding easily.
Because our job is not to sit here and talk about like what happened. It's about looking at the future and trying to innovate in every way.
But the future is the past. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
The future
is the past. The plane is built on essentially a lot of things that we see in the world are based on things that are old, mad old. The body of a plane is built from birds, so the future is the past. Like, do you get it?
Okay, but
that sounds mad.
That's not.
But like, do you get what I'm saying though? Like,
yeah, the reason that it's built like that is because of aerodynamics. And
I know,
because it's a bird.
But
Or,
no, but I'm saying that like the things that we see in today's society, like they're not new. Okay, a plane is a new invention, but it's based on old concepts, old ideas, old things that we already see. Do you get me? That's what I'm trying to say. Like things we see now, or the things that are gonna happen in the future, they're based on past things.
Explain what a computer CPU was. What was that based on?
The human brain.
Well,
you're telling me that's not like essentially like the destination for human computers. That's what every film about computers is saying. It's gonna be the brain. Do you get me?
Well, it is the brain in the sense that that's where
what it's based on.
Yes, but no one looked at a brain and went, okay, let's make that.
No one went at a brain and said, this is what I'm gonna do 100%. But it is based on it. It's undeniable. I don't even know shit about computer science.
Well,
it's undeniable.
It's not really based on the brain. It is. It's not.
It is.
It's not because it
You're telling me that the way computers are going, they're not based on the brain. You can talk to your phone.
That's not like the design of a computer is not based on the brain.
Okay, the actual physical design of it is not based on the brain, but the functions that it does it's probably the closest thing we've done to replicate like what a brain can do in terms of like just understanding, processing information, and it's still not even half as close to where the human brain is. Do you get me?
No.
That it's true.
But
it's 100% true.
In many ways, the computer is superior to the brain. In so many ways.
It's not though.
It is.
It's not though.
It is.
It's not though.
All right, can you please computate the fluid dynamics of it? Yeah, can you do that? Please, can you please do 10,000 like calculations right now manually? You can, right? But a computer can do it in half a second, and you can spend 3 days doing it, right?
Okay.
It's fundamentally faster. It's fundamentally designed to be quicker and better at that.
Maths. That's just a calculator.
A computer is a calculator. It's just a big calculator.
Cool. But my point is kind of like,
in a lot of ways, it doesn't perceive emotion, and
it can't perceive emotion.
Exactly, which is good because when you're doing certain things, it takes human nature out of it.
Not because it can't perceive emotion. Not because it doesn't. Not because scientists or engineers don't want it to. It's because we can't. You actually can't. That's an area you
also
can't.
wouldn't want it in that situation.
That's not true.
It is.
If they were able to create computers that could understand the complexities of human emotion, they would do that already. 100%. But they can't because they can't match the brain.
Of course, but a computer is in many ways superior to the brain.
But overall, it's not. Okay, in maths. Okay, cool.
In computation, and it is.
Processing information, probably, yeah.
It is.
Do you get me? Like Google searches and all that kind of shit. But it's kind of like, not in every single aspect. Some aspects, do you get me? But not in every single aspect.
A computer isn't designed to replace the human brain. It's
taking. We don't know the intentions of like these dons. Do you get me?
I mean, what do you mean these dons? Who are these dons?
These dons, the higher ups.
Who are these higher ups? I hate when people mention it. Who? Give me one name.
The higher ups. Do you get me?
Alright, just keep going higher and higher ups. There's never an end. You could say one person, the higher up, and just.
It's the higher ups in like them.
Who? Who the fuck is them?
I don't know.
Alright, we're gonna call it a day. I think we've had a long enough episode.
Yeah, this is good though. This is good though.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I appreciate you coming on, and
Honestly, it's calm, man. It's calm.
you'll probably come on again in the future. I'm sure you've enjoyed it.
Definitely, yeah. This is lit.
I'll put your Instagram link in the
Instagram.
description. In the description if anyone wants to follow you. And
Alright, cool.
and catch you, man, in the next one.
Alright, safe.